At this point, Alyssa's ability to continuously remain relevant in the news is rivaling that of DSP. Just when you thought we completely forgotten about her existence and everything her associates do to ruin gaming as a hobby, Alyssa Mercante fires off a lawsuit like she's goddamn Acer Thorn, trying to sue everybody over Elden Ring videos.
He's fat!
Only this time, the lawsuit at hand provides no legitimate concern for anybody. As a matter of fact, it may be the most questionable lawsuit of the year. I don't really know if it's real. I'm questioning it itself, but it's exactly what you would expect from Alyssa, queen of the nose ring and poorly placed tattoos. Heck, you know, iDubbbz, if it don't work out with your current girl, you can always hit up Alyssa in the DMs. It's no secret that Alyssa has had the industry covering up for her for a very long time. It's also clear as day that, you know, she's not qualified for her position at Kotaku, putting out some of the most horrible articles of the year, like her Shadow of the Erdtree review, where she could not separate her real life from the game review itself, oftentimes equating all the boss fights to her struggling to stand up against misogyny on Twitter. She is a cartoon character, and she's only going to quadruple down on her character, and that's because it's drawing attention. And if there's anything more dangerous than a woman with a lawyer, it's a woman with some attention on her. Because we all know the type of quote-unquote men that rush to the defense of, well, scumbag like her. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the best way I could describe Alyssa is like one of the many people that are featured in Matt Walsh's Am I Racist movie that I just saw recently. And if you want to know what my thoughts are on that, well, why don't you go check out my second channel for Tanga Griffs, which is actually exploding right now. Wonder what I'm still doing on this channel. So anyway, like I said, she's one of those people that would definitely pay over $50,000 to attend an all-female dining table where all they do is talk about how horrible men are and how awful Republicans and conservatives are and how the police needs to be abolished. Alyssa legitimately believes that you can't be racist towards white people. She would easily cast aside her white guilt if it meant she could receive the forgiveness from the black community. Her worldviews are outlandish. They are not respectable in the slightest, and I'm tired of pretending like we have to respect these people's worldviews. No, we don't. They are terrible. If they were put in practice, society would collapse within months. Pray to God she never breeds. I mean, just look at her. She looks like a poorly rendered character model in Grum's unfinished crowdfunded game. The sad part is her outlandish political worldviews are the only thing keeping her tethered to any community and accepted within any space. If she didn't have them, she would just be seen as any other ethos. Excuse me, I have to watch my language because look, Alyssa, I know you and your viewers watch this content. How? Because I've never been hit with limited ads for saying the C word. You know, the word that rhymes with hunt, but with the C. Then all of a sudden, one day I wake up and out of the blue, limited ads on a squeaky clean video covering you. And the specific problem YouTube takes a problem with is that word, which they never have before. You know, the video had to have been reported, specifically on this instance. It's no coincidence, you know, when I cover this content, it affected the main channel very hard, which is why I'm grateful for the second channel. The crowd that, you know, backs up people like Alyssa, they'll hunt you down. And if they can't find you, if they can't send a lawsuit to you, they'll try and take down your existence on the internet. They'll try and get your Steam accounts removed. So you have to understand, we're playing with fire here, so we gotta be very careful. Anyway, let's start off with what's going on with Alyssa and the YouTuber Smash JT, who uploaded a video about 17 hours ago covering this lawsuit that was sent his way by a lawyer Alyssa had hired. Now, if you don't know Smash JT, he has covered Alyssa plenty of times on his channel, but I would say just the right amount. He doesn't give me the impression that he's obsessed with her. It's just that anytime she's in the news is the perfect time to talk about her. But I'm guessing because his face is out there, Alyssa had something she could send a letter to. Like the random men she meets in bars, she picked him. And the letter sent is absolutely hilarious. Of course, for this very reason, I must bring out Frit Attorney at Law. We need to point to every instance of where this case could fall flat on its face in front of a jury. Hell, who even knows if the judge won't just throw it out reading it? I don't know much about the law, but I'm pretending to for a character. Anyway, take it away. Your Honor, for several weeks, when I say weeks, months, shall I call you Miss? Okay. Miss Alyssa Mercante has continuously harassed my client for several months, non-stop posting about him, his channel, even going as far as to sending personal messages to his wife about the videos JT was making covering her, even trying to go as far as to cause dissension between the married couple in an attempt to convince her to leave JT, all over a few videos on the internet. Your Honor, clearly a line is drawn, and such line has been crossed to an extremity by Mrs. Alyssa Mercante here. Not once has my client conducted himself in such a manner, to the point he's willing to cross such line and get this personal with Alyssa, reaching out to family members. For this reason alone, our client has chosen to completely disregard this cease and desist letter. As history shows, Alyssa Mercante is willing to threaten individuals with physical violence over a difference of opinion. I point to you this clip.
The games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid mother. And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken you up on that yet?
No, because they're all pussies.
Yep.
Now, Your Honor, I shall read to you said cease and desist letter and explain to you why we must reject every single request.
My job is to lead, not to read. But for this reason and this reason alone, I shall grant it.
Your Honor.
Silence, heretic. Please, man with stick, you may proceed. But be warned, shall you disappoint the Emperor, then you will be forced to subscribe to Alyssa's OnlyFans for 12 months. Carry on.
Your defamation and harassment of our client, Alyssa Mercante. Jeff, we write to you today as counsel for Alyssa Mercante. You have made unlawfully harassing and or defamatory statements about Alyssa. We are writing to request that you voluntarily retract them and publish an apology, the language of which we will suggest to you before we pursue other legal avenues against you.
Objection!
We refuse to provide said apology, as my client here has not made such defamatory statements. All statements have been provided by Alyssa herself, voluntarily to the public on social media and in interviews and on her own website, Kotaku. No said apology can be issued, and no apology that my client will provide will be worded the way Alyssa demands. To even demand he use suggested language provided defeats the entire purpose of said apology to begin with. None of what is stated has been unlawful, and instead my client here demands an apology from Alyssa herself for having attempted to engage in unwanted messages with his wife.
Your statements, which are defamatory to Alyssa, on around October 30th, 2024, you tweeted, "Horrification, what's that? Like at Alyssa Merc does sucking dicks in her off time for money?" Then repeated the claim on April 1st, 2024, tweeting, "How do I put this in a way that you'd grasp? The Miko was about as much fun as sucking 20 dicks in a row, but instead of being paid for it, I paid 10K to do it." In response to one of Alyssa's tweets, you then published a video to YouTube on April 4th, 2024, in which you stated, "Alyssa Mercante has since come forward stating that she used to be a sex worker sucking dicks for money before working at Kotaku." You repeated this statement on YouTube on May 1st, 2024 and May 3rd, 2024, as well as on your website. Jeff, those statements are factually false, and you knew they were false when you made them. Alyssa has never come forward stating that she has engaged in conduct you claim there is a gulf between solo nude modeling and engaging in sexual acts for money. ago if you were aware of when you made these statements. You do not couch them in terms of possibility, but a definitive fact within your knowledge. These statements are not mere insults or rhetorical hyperbole, such as would render them protected speech. You clearly intended these statements to be taken as literal fact, and a jury could easily find that a reasonable person of ordinary prudence would interpret them in that light, as you falsely claim Alyssa is the source of this information. It is facially obvious that you made these statements knowing that they were false, as required to find actual malice under New York Times v. Sullivan 376 U.S. 254, 1964. Furthermore, because commenting on Alyssa and her work has proven so lucrative for you, there is incentive for you to continually up the ante in your criticisms of her. While you could have left your statements at mere opinion and hyperbole, doing so would eventually lead to flagging esteemed friend or horde of fans. Therefore, as we have documented, your statements about Alyssa have increased in fervor and falsity, rising from what the First Amendment protects to unprotected speech, and in doing so, you have demonstrated that you will recklessly disregard good taste and truth in an effort to provide the content that sustains your social media presence. This is the very definition of actual malice.
Objection!
Your Honor, it's been brought to my attention that Mr. Kamerman here apparently no longer works at the firm that is stated on his Twitter publicly. Not to mention he has been suspended from Twitter. He's also very, open with his disdain for Republicans and conservatives. Everything stated in this cease and desist, we can testify is false. The source of all this information about Alyssa's past sex work life was provided entirely by her and her herself through several posts made on social media. No such sarcasm could be detected by anybody. There was no implication of sarcasm, and such tweets can be found right here. As you can see, that woman sitting across the room from us right now displayed zero shame on social media, and it came back to bite her. Multiple content creators, multiple social media influencers repeating exactly what she had posted online. Statements to which this day she will not retract. It is not possible for this to be labeled defamation. And the intent of my client here, JT, is impossible to know. An attempt to even try and frame this as if they know every single intention from my client is laughable. To even suggest it's a giant misinterpretation alone should have this case easily dismissed. There was no need to up the ante, as Alyssa herself continuously posts more and more unhinged, radical posts on the internet, and she wants to take every single person that criticizes her for said statements to court.
If this matter were taken to court, there is a substantial possibility that Alyssa would prevail. Your statement constitutes defamation per se under both California law and New York law, such that Alyssa would not have to plead special damages for a court to find her claim and merit, because your statements both suggest that she has committed a crime and intend to injure her in her field of work by suggesting that she is unprofessional. In New York, these laws make your statements defamatory. In addition, you clearly have financial motivation to continue to defame Alyssa, since you made the first defamatory statement on March 30th, 2024. The average number of views on your YouTube videos, have gone from 1 or 2,000 to tens or even hundreds of thousands of views each. Courts have found that where defendant has profited from the defamation, awards of punitive damages are appropriate. If this matter cannot be resolved amicably and Alyssa is forced to proceed with legal litigation against you, we will not hesitate to seek punitive damages from you. We therefore demand that you remove all statements to the effect that Alyssa has sucked dicks for money or otherwise engage in acts of sexual contact for any kind of compensation or advantage, as well as issue a retraction and apology on every platform and in every medium where the original statement was published, including any not named in.
Objection!
Your Honor, to demand my client remove his statement, which is a direct quote from Alyssa herself is ludicrous. If there is a problem she has with such statements, it should be coming from her herself, as she did not hesitate to post that information all over social media, and she wants others to not be able to repeat what she's posted in detail, what acts she used to commit, and therefore it is entirely her own fault for admitting to such crimes. It is clear as day the only defamation done here was by Alyssa's own hands. Such statements cannot be solely left to the mind to figure out whether they're truthful or not. And of course, Alyssa here went on to delete such tweets. Now I know what you're thinking, Your Honor. These are images that could easily be photoshopped. Luckily for us, the original tweet was archived, and looking it up on the Wayback Machine, I was able to find 2 instances of when it was screenshot around April 6th and 7th, which actually takes you to Alyssa's profile, actually showing that she had less followers at the time and has nearly doubled said followers. So what punitive damages is she seeking? She actually gained a following and a name for herself and a reputation, and it was all because of these tweets that she is pretending nobody can see anymore. Trying to remove said tweets has shown the true malice and the intentions behind Alyssa. She is seeking to erase her own statements that she publicly posted. Now puts into question how she's able to pay for this lawyer.
Within 30 days of the receipt of this letter, the retraction and apology must be of equal prominence and receive equal promotion as the original defamatory statements. To the best of your ability, we suggest that your retraction include the statement, "It was wrong of me to suggest Alyssa Mercante has engaged in sexual contact for money. I let my rhetoric get away from me, and I did so hoping to inflame you, my audience. I apologize for spreading lies about Alyssa and doing so to manipulate you, my viewers. You may catalog and document these retractions and apologies to us via email. Failure to do so will result in Alyssa seeking enforcement of her rights in court."
Objection!
Your Honor, I know it's against the rules to laugh in court. Oh, God. But it's blatantly obvious Ms. Alyssa here was able to pay this lawyer of hers by making their Honda Odyssey rock in the middle of the night. It is almost comical. It is so laughable. You know, we're doing a work of fiction here, but if this actually makes it to court, it will be one of the most hilarious court cases in history. Do not insult the legal system we have in place with such buffoonery. No judge in their right mind would approve of these demands. It would all be rejected. There is no case here. I'm only making it happen because it's so funny in my head.
You accuse Alyssa of trying to silence her critics, but routinely encourage behavior that would lead to her not having a voice in the marketplace of ideas. This is ironic, given that Alyssa's prominence and reach as a journalist is what has propelled your own career forward. As stated previously, a more cautious and judicious person would have confined his commentary on the subject to opinion, even perhaps vociferous and vulgar disagreement with Alyssa, but away from these sorts of highly dramatic actions that constitute defamation and harassment. As you yourself stated, the internet is ruthless. However, you feel about our attempts to dissuade Kiwi Farms from pursuing its own misguided course of action. Let us be clear, any attempt by you to use this communication to drum up sympathy for yourself or to continue to harass Alyssa by exposing her to the ruthlessness of your audience, any statements by you that she should feel the consequences of trying to silence you will be taken as intentional attempts to inflict emotional distress upon Alyssa and could expose you to further legal liability. Jeff, we are not asking that you never comment about Alyssa again. We are not asking that you never say mean things about her or that you never react negatively to something that she writes or a tweet she leaks or comment pejoratively about her. We are asking that you confine such activities to the right side of the law. That is not meant to silence you. It is meant to keep us from having to take you to court for the damages you cause. We are giving you an exit ramp. Prudence, consuls on your social media platforms contemplated above. You tell your listeners to tone down the rhetoric and avoid conduct and actions that directly target her. By all means, you and your followers should publish videos, blogs, tweets, and every form of medium message out there. Disagree with Alyssa, anything she writes, but do not direct that conduct at her. No harassing direct messages, no linking to private information, and certainly no encouraging others to take action that reasonably makes her feel threatened, harassed, alarmed, or abused by your conduct. In conclusion, this matter ends if you publish your retraction and apology as stated above, containing all the information you have requested here, and your promise to confine your future commentary on Alyssa to the strictly non-defamatory and non-harassing. Jeff, are you a family man yourself? Imagine your family in this situation. What would you want to happen? With a little empathy, you can settle this for cause and we can all move on with our lives. It's time you made the smart choice for once. Do the right thing.
Your Honor, this is absolutely ridiculous. Alyssa here is demanding things that she could not comply to from the very beginning. She messaged Smash's wife, which was out of line. She has continuously posted far more about Smash than he has about her. She is now threatening legal action in the form of a plea, begging our client to conform himself in a manner that she approves of. She is actively filtering his language, his opinions, and the cease and desist letter is a clear example of that. My client will not comply to any of these requests. They are outlandish. No judge in his right mind could ever grant this much in return for more damage done by Alyssa herself. The audacity to bring up family when she crossed that line is unforgivable. Alyssa herself has attempted to spread private information about her critics. She has attempted to rally and have people's profiles completely removed, and she demands others' language be policed while she runs her mouth, actively defaming herself, and then trying to be financially compensated for her own foolishness. The case rests. Your Honor, my client is completely innocent. We plea not guilty, and all evidence stacked against Alyssa here cannot be ignored. My client will not argue intentions. He will argue solely based on the facts presented and the evidence available. And for that reason alone, he will not be legally engaging any further. And instead, we demand that Alyssa be given a restraining order from Twitter, an internet house arrest, I guess you could say. It's for her own good. And with that, we rest our case.
I can't follow any of this. Well, Alyssa, you actually did post that stuff? God damn, you're disgusting. Have some dignity. You're somebody's daughter, for Christ's sake. The daughters of Cain would never commit such abominations. I find you guilty, and hereby put you under internet house arrest until you'll learn how to, well, not conduct yourself like this online. Ladies and gentlemen, court dismissed. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you later in the next video, heretics.
Fritango sucks ass.